Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vice Chairman of the Greater Houston Partnership, Gina Luna.
Good afternoon. My name is Gina Luna, and I'm honored to serve as the Vice Chairman of the Greater Houston Partnership. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our annual State of the County event. Special thanks to the Harris County Office Color Guard for presenting the colors today, and to Lieutenant Ruben Diaz for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We also thank Honorable Jay Coran for his rendition of the national anthem. Thank you all very much. Before we enjoy our lunch, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about what's going on at the Greater Houston Partnership. First of all, this year, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary. Before the partnership was formed, there were 3 organizations that represented the business community: the Greater Houston Chamber of Commerce, the Houston Economic Development Council, and the Houston World Trade Center. In 1989, these 3 organizations joined forces to form the Greater Houston Partnership to better coordinate the priorities and efforts of the business community and to strengthen the region. Many of you in this room know that over the past 25 years, the partnership has taken the lead on regional economic development and trade, as well as policy and advocacy at the local, state, and federal level. We've also played a community leadership role, convening not just our own members, but also diverse leaders from across the community to solve our region's issues together. Over the past year, I've had the privilege of co-chairing one of these major efforts, GHP's Regional Workforce Development Task Force. This task force addresses several key objectives of the partnership dating back to our founding 25 years ago: creating jobs, highlighting the importance of education, and improving the quality of life for all our citizens. This task force brought together top executives from our key industry sectors, as well as leaders from community colleges, independent school districts, employment and training firms, and the social services organizations. 79 leaders in all worked together to confront the shortage of trained workers to fill middle-skilled jobs, meaning those jobs that require some training beyond high school, but less than a baccalaureate degree. Our group will issue our action plan in the next couple of weeks that call for an employer-led, industry sector-specific initiative centered around our 9 community college systems. I'm excited about the outcomes of this task force, but know that we have much work to do in terms of implementing our recommendations. Beyond the specific output of the task force, I'm excited about this group because I think it embodies what makes our region a great place. We solve collective problems by bringing everyone to the table to get the job done. During our annual meeting, GHP Chairman Paul Hobby and our President and CEO Bob Harvey discussed the outlook for the region and the partnership's role moving forward. Bob discussed 9 key priorities for the organization, including several that are salient to today's conversation about Harris County. These priorities include the need to expand our global and national position as a trading and logistics hub. But to do this, we must first address our critical infrastructure issues, including improving our roadways, ports, airports, and rail systems. We must also work together to improve our quality of life and make Houston an even more attractive place to live so we can attract new businesses and the type of talent to fill high-skilled, high-wage jobs of tomorrow. As we protect our reputation as a great place to do business, that means working closely with our elected officials to solve issues and identify innovative ideas. Harris County Judge Ed Emmett is one of our region's greatest leaders, and we are honored to have him here today. Judge Emmett, welcome, and thank you for being with us today. We appreciate the work that you and the commissioners and all your staff do on behalf of the region. At this point, I'd like to welcome a special guest. Each year, we are pleased to bring you this event in conjunction with one of our most valued partners, the Houston area branch of the League of Women Voters. Please join me in welcoming the organization's president, Carolyn Mata.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. My remarks are brief. First, I want to talk about some League publications. This is the Voter's Guide, printed in English and Spanish. It's distributed in schools and libraries, and it's available on our website. Secondly, the Directory of Elected Officials. This is also on our website, and we're talking to people about getting an app made for this. And lastly, I want to talk about our name, the League of Women Voters. It's a misnomer. It's not about women. It's about everyone who cares about government, because our purpose is to educate and engage voters in government. If that's important to you, please consider joining the League of Women Voters. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Derek Mitchell, Chairman, Local Relations Committee.
Good afternoon. I'm Derek Mitchell, the Chairman of GHP's Local Relations Committee. Before we continue, please join me in recognizing our event sponsors in the short video.
Ladies and gentlemen, the generous support of our members is essential to the success of the Greater Houston Partnership and allows us to continue our work of making Houston one of the best places to live, work, and build a business. Please join me in thanking today's State of the County major sponsor is Chevron. Today's State of the County gold level sponsors are ExxonMobil, Linebarger, Gogan, Blair & Sampson, LLP, Shell Oil Company, and Southwest Airlines. Our State of the County silver level sponsors are AECOM, Amagi Bank, Andrews KURTH, LLP, Arab Texas, Inc., BP America, Inc., Bracewell and Giuliani, LLP, CENTERPOINT Energy, Dannenbaum Engineering Corporation, Gardere WYNNE SEWELL, LLP, HDR Engineering, Inc., Houston Association of Realtors, Houston Contractors Association, HVJ Associates, Norton Rose Fulbright, Port of Houston Authority, Traffic Engineers, Inc., TXU Energy, University of Houston, UT Health, Wells Fargo, and Winstead PC. Supporting organization, Houston Airport System. Also thanks to our staging partner, JSAV, and our production partner since 2006, Vision Production Group. Please join us in thanking all of our sponsors for their continued support of the Greater Houston Partnership.
Countries in the world. And I think that we all can agree that the great state of Texas is the greatest state in the Union. And then I'd argue that the Houston region is the strongest in the great state of Texas. So Commissioner Lee, by deductive reasoning, that means that we are in the greatest place on earth. Now, Commissioner Cagle, I'd like to give you credit for that, but I can't. There are other leaders here, and we need to recognize them today. So as I say, we're going to start with the elected officials. And as I acknowledge them, I'd like them to stand, and if you would, please hold your applause till the end. We'll start with our state senator, Sylvia Garcia, State Representative Jean Wu, From Harris County, we clearly have our Judge Ed Emmett, Commissioner L. Franco Lee, Commissioner Jack Cagle. You can stand. District Attorney Devin Anderson, District Clerk Chris Daniel, Sheriff Adrian Garcia, County Tax Assessor Collector Mike Sullivan, Constable Precinct 1 Alan Rosen, Judge Criminal Court Number 8 Jane Carahan, the 234th Civil District Court Wesley Ward, and then our regional county commissioners, we have Donald Payne, Precinct 1 from Brazoria County. From Galveston, we have from Precinct 4, Kenneth Clark. And from the City of Houston, we have Controller Ronald Green. From District E, we have Dave Martin. From District A, we have Brenda Stardig. From District G, we have Oliver Pennington. From District K, we have Larry Green. At large position number 2, David Robertson. At large position 3, Michael Kubash. And at large position 5, Jack Christie. And our regional mayors, we have from Baytown, the City of Baytown, Stephen Doncarlos. City of Bel Air, Phil Newitt. City of Hillshire Village, Shannon Whiting. City of LaPorte, Louis Rigby. City of Missouri City, Alan Owen. City of Rosenberg, we have Vincent Morales Jr. City of Seabrook, Glenn Royal. City of Spring Valley, Tom Ramsey. No more woos. And additional city council members. From Hillshire Village, we have Stephanie Post, Michael Bechtel, Dick Yehel. From HISD Board of Trustees, we have Harvin Moore, District 7. From the Port of Houston, we have our chairman, Janice Longoria, John Kennedy, Dean Corgi, Clyde Fitzgerald, Theldon Branch III, Stephen Doncarlos, Roy Meese. Now please join me in acknowledging our elected officials. I would also like to thank the members of the GHP Board of Directors who have joined us for this event. Thank you for everything you do for the partnership. Could you please have, could I please have the GHP Board of Directors stand? And additionally, I would like to thank the partnership's executive partners, AT&T, BP, CenterPoint Energy, Chevron, ExxonMobil, JP Morgan Chase, Reliant, and Shell. Thank you for your continued support of the Greater Houston Partnership.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable L. Franco Lee, Harris County Precinct 1 Commissioner.
Good afternoon, good morning to the distinguished head table, to the partnership who has been steadfast in providing private leadership to public people, to those League of Women Voters who provided a direction for civic leaders in governance. And on behalf of the county and my colleagues, county commissioners colleagues, I'm rise to the honorable occasion to introduce a longtime acquaintance and my county judge, Judge Emmett and Gwen. And I put it in that context because you can't introduce Judge Emmett without making sure that you mention Gwen. Because I knew in 1979, as a freshman, young freshman, who made the decisions in that family as they do in mine. And on behalf of Kay and myself and commissioners, others in Commissioners Court, and having such a unique experience in history with Judge Emmett, having our past woven from 1979 through the early 80s, and serving together as freshmen House members representing Harris County needs, and on the same committees, by the way, from intergovernmental affairs committees that seem to have been the foundation and grooming ground for what we're trying to do today in launching this dynamic county forward. And he has provided a steady, consistent hand of leadership in the 7 years that he's been here with us to debate when debate is needed, to lead and suggest and provide support where it's necessary in this complex business that we call county government. And I just am uniquely honored to come before you and give some expressions of one, thanks, to introduce and to acknowledge my unique kinship to the judge, having such a long span of time. I've been in this office approaching 30 years. We've been crossing paths more than 36 years. And so that gives me a unique perspective and a special honor to talk about and bring forth our county commissioner, our county judge, and the leadership and direction that he provides for county government at this time, which is needed sorely, by the way, and he's made it a fun job. I've lost some pounds in order to continue to step up to the task, and he's been a part of that reason for not the weight loss as much as the pleasure to work with. But now, on behalf of County Commissioners Court and all those who represent county government, I would like to bring to you Judge Emmett. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks to all of you for being here. Particular thanks to you, Commissioner Lee. You know, county government is very much a team effort involving the Commissioners Court and many other elected and appointed officials and, of course, staff. And as Harris County's, we're not sure if you're the longest serving elected official in Harris County, but you're pretty close if you're not. Commissioner Lee well represents the solid foundation upon which our county is built. As he noted on a personal note, we did begin our political careers together when we were both elected to the Texas House of Representatives in 1978. But I like to think that Commissioner Lee and I, like county government in general, are a little bit different compared to some of the things we see today, because I think we're of the school of politics that believes in working together to serve the needs of the community, regardless of party, regardless of philosophy. And speaking of the team effort, the county team is well represented today. Many thanks to the Harris County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard for their usual fine job. Sheriff, glad you're here, but your Honor Guard always does you and us proud. Judge Carahan, this is the second time you've sung the national anthem. We all appreciate it, and Judge Carahan is what I call one of the real judges, Harris County Criminal Court at Law number 8. And Don Hawkins, I wanted to showcase some of the people who do things for this county that you might never see. Don is a highly active member of the Harris County Citizens Corps, and he's someone that we call on during times of emergency, so it's important. So everybody here had some connection to the county. But at this point, I'd like to ask some other people to stand up. Anybody who is a county employee or a county appointee, would you please stand? I know there are a lot of you out here. These are the people that make the county work. And a special thanks to the members of the St. Thomas Episcopal School Pipe Band. They've also become a bit of a fixture, so thank you. They're coming back in the door. I think they're going to get to eat. I walk up too fast every year, so you don't really get to hear the whole sort of walk-in music. But for those of you who don't recognize it, because it takes a while to warm into it, it is from the Last of the Mohicans, and you can make of that what you will. But it's one of my family's favorite, and so Gwen has been warmly introduced, and I concur with everything Commissioner Lee said about Gwen, plus much more. But I'd also like to introduce the rest of my family that's here this afternoon, for no other reason because Gwen and I couldn't figure out which table they were at, and we were looking for them. So I have 2 daughters, a son, and their spouses at the Baylor table. Where are you? Please stand. I don't mean to overlook my son Robert or the sons-in-law, but I still get asked all the time about the 2 daughters and whether or not I sent them to Hawaii. And no, I did not. So Adrian and Patricia, sorry about that. This is my 7th State of the County address that's been sponsored by the Greater Houston Partnership and the League of Women Voters. Thanks to both organizations for giving me yet another opportunity to discuss the greatest county in the world. Glad you set that up that way, by the way, because we are the greatest county in the world. And since we are in an election season, in case you haven't noticed, I want to take a moment of personal privilege to urge everyone to vote in the March 4th primary. You can't complain about the choices in November if you don't vote in the primary. And I hear it all the time, oh, is this the best we can do? Well, I know the League of Women Voters backs me up on this. I thought you told them no more woos. Please, go vote in a primary. It's important. You know, in prior years, I have focused on specific issues of relevance and have always commented on the sound financial foundation of Harris County. And so as I stand before you again today, I can say one more time, the financial condition of Harris County is excellent. County Budget Officer Bill Jackson and his staff and all the department heads have done a tremendous job of presenting budgetary approaches to meet very changing conditions and needs. We all know without sound finances, no entity can perform its job. So Harris County is in a good position because of those sound finances. But at all times and in all previous State of the County speeches, I have maintained that the true state of the county is measured by the quality of the life of its residents. That is still the best measure of the state of the county. Now, there are obviously many factors that make up quality of life here in the nation's third most populous county. Some of those factors are quantifiable and some are not. In years past, I have spoken of transportation projects, indigent health care, criminal justice, mental health, hurricane preparedness, and yes, the Astrodome. More about that later. Earlier this year, I outlined to my staff the personal priorities I have for the coming year. Those priorities include finding a solution for the fate of the Astrodome, fully developing a pilot program to divert individuals with mental health issues from the county jail, using the expansion of the TranStar facility to make Harris County's Office of Emergency Management more effective, and creating a clear plan for a regional multimodal transportation system that will allow our county and region to live up to its potential as what I like to call the gateway of North America. Now, beyond those four specific priorities, other matters will need ongoing attention. Amid all of the controversy and confusion swirling around national health care policy, Harris County Hospital District, now known as Harris Health, and Harris County must still provide health care to those who cannot afford it. Indigent health care is not merely about providing services to those who need help. It is also about protecting the entire community from disease and possible pandemic and making this a better place to live. We have to continue to focus on that, regardless of this debate that's going on. And it causes us and the district and the private providers, frankly, a great deal of consternation, because we have to help people who are every bit as confused as we are, just watching all the machinations that are going on. Another issue that never leaves us because of where we live is hurricane preparedness. The Harris County Office of Emergency Management and all of its partners constantly strive for improvements in cooperation and coordination. With the creation and state funding of the Gulf Coast Community Protection and Recovery District, that's a mouthful and I'm not sure all of you have heard of it, of which I happen to be a board member, and the president of this district is my predecessor, former County Judge Robert Eccles, who is with us today somewhere out there in the audience. We are analyzing approaches to lessen the devastation to life and property caused by hurricanes in our area. There have been some innovative ideas promoted, publicized, and it's important that we look at those and determine if any of them can really be implemented. Equally important, though, is to do global research about what approaches have been taken or not taken in other vulnerable areas around the world. But make no mistake, the best approach will always be to keep people out of harm's way. And that's what we should be about when it comes to hurricane preparedness. The third area that almost everyone agrees needs constant and renewed attention is the education and care of young children. This past year saw a well-intentioned but misguided effort to fund a very limited early childhood education program. I would note that it is important to focus on having the right players involved. For example, school districts might have been a good place to start with that discussion, because that's where education occurs. And currently there is a statewide effort getting underway to improve early childhood education. So I would suggest and strongly urge the Greater Houston Partnership and others to be part of that effort so that we really can address the issue in the proper way. However, there are many aspects to giving children what they need to perform well as students and ultimately as adults in the workforce. Daycare, education, nutrition, healthcare, and the development of non-cognitive skills are all important. Now, while the county government doesn't touch all of these, I believe we have the opportunity to create a forum, and I'd like to call that forum Whole Child Development. Not focusing on one little piece, but let's look at the whole child, and as county judge, I will create such a forum during this coming year. So from the Astrodome to whole child development, all of these priorities deserve attention, and we're fortunate in Harris County to have the wherewithal to deal with them. Today, though, I want to begin a different discussion of a broader nature. It is a discussion of the fundamental nature of the governance of our region. Ever since I moved to Houston in 1966, 48 years ago, I have marveled at and loved the dynamism of this community. Looking back, the growth and changes have been spectacular. In 1966, there was no Loop 610, no Katy Freeway. The Humble building was a tourist destination. You could go up on top and they'd make you a little plastic model of the building because it was the tallest building west of the Mississippi River. Doctors Cooley and DeBakey were putting the Texas Medical Center on the world stage. And yes, the Astrodome was the 8th wonder of the world. Kingwood and the Woodlands were still forest. And the Cy-Fair School District had but one high school. 3 years would go by before Houston Intercontinental Airport opened, and all commercial flights were ended at Hobby. Southwest, I think that's changed a little bit since then. Just think how much change has occurred. Overwhelmingly positive change has occurred in the intervening years. And a lot of that change was driven by the private sector as new businesses flourished, foundered, flourished again. Individuals and families made lifestyle choices that literally changed the landscape. And through it all, different governmental entities took actions or in some cases failed to act. And the result of the interplay between business, individuals, families, government created a unique urban-suburban region that now must face the future. I believe that future is highly dependent upon a redefined structure of governance in which Harris County will play a leading role. Recently, I read a book. The book equated the rise of suburban sprawl with the decline of the American dream. And you and I have all heard people say, well, this or that has to happen to make Houston a world-class city. That's the wrong goal. Don't get me wrong, I love the city of Houston. But the city of Houston is only one component part of Harris County and the larger multi-county region. Years ago, the city of Houston pursued a creative strip annexation policy that greatly expanded its extraterritorial jurisdiction. The purpose was to prevent the city from being surrounded and perhaps strangled by other municipalities. We've seen that occur around the country. That was a wise policy. However, it was anticipated that the city would continue to annex subdivisions as they were completed. And for a variety of reasons, that has not occurred. So population growth in unincorporated Harris County has boomed. More than 1.6 million people live in unincorporated Harris County today. In fact, if the city does not change its annexation policy, which is very limited right now, by the next census, more people will live in unincorporated Harris County than inside the city of Houston. That makes Harris County, and indeed our region, vastly different from any other urban county, any other region in the country, if not the world. So therefore, our goal should be to redefine our region as the model of what a community born of the automobile age can become. rather than trying to emulate what has been deemed successful in cities and communities that grew up before the advent of the automobile. We should tackle a different task with vastly more potential. That task is to leverage the strengths of our metropolitan area and become the leader for others around the world to follow. Now, I confess with a smile, see the smile, that those of us in county government sometimes chafe at the attention lavished on the city of Houston. Earlier this month, I sat at the head table during the Greater Houston Partnership's annual meeting and chuckled, David, I think I was sitting next to you during that, at how often the term city was used, when the reference was really to something outside the city limits. For example, the new ExxonMobil facility is not in the city of Houston. But if you ask any of those who are being moved here from out of state, they'll probably say they are moving to Houston. When trade missions are organized, the mayor is asked to lead them, even though the resulting business, by the way, I warned her I was going to say all this today, so the mayor is asked to lead them, even though the resulting business is likely to locate outside the city limits. The reality is that from a public perspective, the term Houston has become shorthand for the entire region. And being a realist, I'm not suggesting trying to change that perception. I know what it's like. It's hard enough to explain what a county judge is when you go overseas. If you try to say Harris County, it's difficult, I got that. But when it comes to addressing the needs of the future, our region must design new approaches, break some old patterns, and write our own book. Harris County, the city of Houston, other counties and cities, a myriad of special districts, and most of all, the legislature must be creative in shaping that future. Over the years, our region has faced various crises, and decisions were made along the way to improve the situations. Here are some examples. When Jeff Davis Hospital became dysfunctional and an embarrassment, the Harris County Hospital District was created under the auspices of Harris County. In 1937, recognizing the necessity of an organization dedicated to preventing flooding on this coastal plain, the Harris County Flood Control District was created by the Texas legislature, and Harris County Commissioners Court was designated as the district's governing body. Many years later, seeing the major subsidence problems caused by the pumping of groundwater, the Harris-Galveston Subsidence District was put in place. In 1983, the Harris County Commissioners Court created the Harris County Toll Road Authority, and in a move that has proved to be brilliant, structured it so that profitable toll roads can pay for new toll roads and so-called free roads to enhance regional mobility. What would our traffic situation today be if we didn't have Beltway 8, West Park, Hardy, the I-10 managed lanes, or the numerous county roads that have been built or improved using that toll revenue? As mentioned earlier, Transtar, it's a model. It represents the best in a cooperative effort to protect a community. It is the implementation of a creative idea that saves lives and protects property. More recently, in response to the need to improve our freight rail system, eliminate grade crossings, and develop options for commuter rail, the legislature created the Gulf Coast Rail District. Harris, Waller, Montgomery, Fort Bend, and Galveston counties and the city of Houston are members of that district. And that could become the driving force for many transportation improvements that will allow the entire region to grow and prosper. All of these examples represent special solutions to special problems, and all of them have something in common: Harris County. On a day-to-day basis, Harris County does many things for the more than 4 million residents and countless visitors. Roads, parks, libraries, courthouses, those are sometimes taken for granted. Other county facilities, like the Institute of Forensic Sciences and Reliant Park, stand out for their noteworthy roles, and people know what they are. So looking at Harris County today, it's easy to be proud of what's been done. but there's so much left to do. Harris County contains all or part of 34 municipalities, 556 municipal utility districts, 33 emergency districts, and numerous other special districts. We are surrounded by other counties that are either growing as rapidly as we are or they soon will be. It's not at all clear that we can continue to count on the same financial support from the federal government and the state government that we've enjoyed in the past. So Harris County, as the largest player in the region, needs to work with all partners, public and private, to make sure that the services and infrastructure necessary for continued regional vitality are developed in a timely fashion. Can't wait too late. You know, you can't be chasing the growth. You have to try and stay ahead of it. I realize that some will engage in so-called turf battles because nobody likes to give up authority over anything. I've got that. Others will try to strangle government growth by imposing arbitrary limits on revenue, not realizing their short-sightedness. I would refer them to Colorado if they want to see what happens when you try and do that. It took 6 years for that state to undo the damage. And still others will focus only on the short-term politics involved. We must resist all such hindrances. The current state of Harris County is sound financially, programmatically, and institutionally. The future state of Harris County will depend on the ability of the entire region to work together to best address the needs of our residents. At the risk of stirring controversy, I propose that we start asking questions like the following. Is it time for the creation of a regional healthcare delivery district that goes beyond county lines? Is it time for public housing and housing assistance programs to be consolidated and not have a separate City of Houston and Harris County housing program? Is it time for the regional ports to function as a unit? If the City of Houston continues its policy of not annexing subdivision, is it time for the county and municipal utility districts to develop a new path for street maintenance? Is it time to re-examine the multiple layers of law enforcement? Is it time to ask, what can be done to improve streets and roads in all jurisdictions? If the county does roads really well, maybe we ought to be doing roads other places. In 1957, the Harris County Home Rule Commission, which I doubt if many people in this room remember, and I certainly didn't, but they issued a report titled Metropolitan Harris County. So is it time to ask again how governments in the area should be organized to face the future of a metropolitan region? I think for sure the answer to that last question is yes. So I ask groups such as the Greater Houston Partnership and the League of Women Voters to join with Harris County, the City of Houston, other counties and cities in creating a bold vision of a metropolitan region that becomes the envy of the world. We owe that to those who gave us such a solid foundation. More importantly, we owe that to generations to come. Thank you very much.
Judge Emmett, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you'll continue to consider the Greater Houston Partnership a partner in your efforts to build this great county, as well as a resource for you and your staff. We're always happy to assist and work with the county. Before we conclude today's event, I'd like to thank you all of our members who've joined us today. If you're not yet a member, please visit www.houston.org for information on how to join the partnership. I'd also like to invite you to attend the State of the City event with Houston Mayor Anise Parker on April 3rd as she presents a recap of 2013 and shares her vision for the upcoming year with us. Information on this and other events is available on the website. Thank you again for being here, and I hope you have a great afternoon.